Morning, Year 8. Right, today I want to learn about one particular battle, of the First World War, the Battle of the Somme. Probably probably the most famous, of the battles in the First World War, particularly that involved, the British. I want you to think about the reasons behind the Somme, what actually happened, and hopefully what we could have learnt from it. There were more reasons for the Somme than simply to break through those lines. It was important, if I come down and show you a map, it was really important. I see here this red line here, that is the front line between us and the Germans, right? The Germans are on this side, we are on this side, and we're trying to push them back, right? On top of that, this area is on a slight incline, which means that the Germans here are on higher ground, which means they've always got the advantage of being able to see effectively what the English are doing. What you can't see on this little map here, but you can see on this bigger one here, is what was happening on the grander scale, of the Western Front, and that is that France were fighting here and had been in Verdun since February time against the Germans, and the French were losing. Sometimes the Battle of Verdun is described as bleeding the French white. They were losing so many men that we really were in danger of France withdrawing from the First World War, and if that had happened, then Britain would have been in real difficulties. So part of the Somme, was the idea behind it was to pull German troops from Verdun up to the Somme, to give the French a fighting chance, against them. So this was a huge undertaking. That picture I showed you last week of the crater, the Lonaga crater, that was from the first day of the Somme as well, with all the explosives that was packed in there to try and cause the disruption on this first day. So before the Somme even happened, we have about a week, of the Allies bombarding the enemy trenches, with artillery shells day and night. It just didn't stop. And then the point was we would then move forward, and the idea was that the men would be able to simply walk forward because the German trenches would be simply obliterated and take over the enemy trenches. This did not go according to plan for several reasons. One, the German trenches were built so deep that doesn't matter how much artillery bombardment we were sending over, it wasn't going to do any damage to their bunkers. And if anyone has seen the film 1917, which has just come out on DVD now, it gives you an idea in there of just the scale of the German trenches and how surprised the British soldiers were when they saw them, because it was nothing like ours. Ours were designed to be temporary. The German trenches were built to be able to deal with this kind of bombardment. So first of all, that was one problem. We didn't destroy their trenches. All they did is take their machine guns apart, take them down into the bunkers, and then reassemble them when the guns stopped firing, because they knew that's when the attack was coming. Another reason why the Somme was less successful is that it was the first time that all the volunteers that had been signing up since 1914, so all of the men that signed up with the propaganda that we've talked about in class, the cinemas that they went to see, all of the propaganda, all those, the POWs battalions, they were fighting for the first time, most of them, in the Battle of the Somme. So these were not trained soldiers, these were not professional soldiers, these were people who'd gone and done their basic training. This was the first time they were on a battlefield. And they were told to walk because their generals didn't feel that they would be able to, run across no man's land with their weapons and everything else. So they were told to walk, which basically means, they were mowed down by the German machine gun firing. So I want you to have a read through this information here for me, please. So lots of information. I've also put a PowerPoint as a PDF as well. Primarily because it's got some facts in there, so it tells you how many casualties, how many people died in the first day of the Somme. It also at the end there gives you the casualties over the initial first battle, which went on till November. But I also want you to have a look at these. So a couple of diagrams talking about the problems if you are an attacking troop. So if you were coming out of your trenches here and attacking the German trenches over here, these are all obstacles that you've got to overcome. So have a look at that, please. And the other one I wanted you to look at is this one here. So again, this was the plan on this side here, that everything would go swimmingly and they knew exactly what they were doing. And unfortunately, this is what happened, in reality, not at all what we had planned. Once you've read through all of those, back on that first document, there is a couple of activities I want you to do at the end. I'd like you to do this table here, all right, and complete that, do that in your book, and then I would have a go at question 2. All right, I don't need to have a look at question 3, just question 1 and 2, and just make sure you are very familiar with what the Battle of the Somme was, why it happened, and primarily what went wrong with it. Okay, all right, again, email with any problems, please, Year 8.